Peace and assalamu alaikum, everybody. My eyes are feeling weird. So, today is the last day of August, and so about 2 weeks, 13 days, will be 11 years since I've lived in Pennsylvania, since I relocated from New Jersey up here after divorce and all that kind of thing. Thought I was not going to make it, but here I am. So, I I have, a couple of white people in my family, whatever, but aside from my grandmother, I didn't actually like spend time with them. I spent some time with my grandmother, but she's in black neighborhood for like decades, so I don't even think that count really. But when I moved up here, we all white folks think they know everything about black folks, Mexicans or whatever, Muslims, whatever. Black people are a little different. We certainly think we know so much about white people, and it's just not so. And I've realized that although I do believe, like with anybody else, like a a black Jerseyan from Newark is not going to be the same as, a black person from Brooklyn or even, Atlantic City or Philly or something like that. Just because we do our own type of something. But so likewise, all white folk up here are not going to be the same. I'm in the central Pennsylvania area. I've lived throughout central Pennsylvania over the past 11 years, and they will be different than probably eastern Pennsylvanians or what have you. It's just how it is with anybody, anywhere, any ethnicity, any whatever. I need to put this cooler back on. So, what this video is about, when I moved to Pennsylvania, I did not know nearly as much about white folks as I thought I did. Again, I'm talking about up here, central Pennsylvania specifically. And like simple things, like stuff, stereotypical things you hear about white people in black areas or black communities, that they love the cold. That is not so. And you might think like, well, it's Pennsylvania, they used to cold. When the first winter that I was in Pennsylvania, there was a huge snowstorm back in New Jersey. And like I said, I'm from Newark, New Jersey, which is northeastern. And so they got like 22 inches of snow. And everybody was calling me like, how y'all get hit up there? We got no snow. And that's when I lived in the Susquehanna Valley, in this town / city. They think it's a city. It's not. But Williamsport. I lived there initially when I first moved up here, and we got no snow. So you may think that because it's Pennsylvania, like they're used to like rigid snow or cold, and it's just not so. So that's something that wasn't true. People still have this saying or this belief that white people, this is so offensive. This is not what I say, and I'll go into that in a second. But there is a common stereotype that white people, I guess when their hair is wet or something like that, that they smell like wet dogs. I've said it before. I'm not a dog person. I don't know what a wet dog smells like. It sounds like it would be really funky. And I'm here to tell you that ain't so. Now, maybe you smell white people whose hair was wet and they smell like a wet dog. Maybe they had some sort of issue with themselves or hygienically, maybe whatever. Maybe they eat pork. I don't know. But that's just not true. And I've seen on like TikTok or whatever, stuff like that, where a young girl or two would like make the same statement. Personally, I just think they're trying to fit in and own this, a lot of white people feel like we have white privilege, so let's overcompensate to let people know that we are down with them, we're not that way, and all this sort of thing. I don't really think it's a thing. And I've been around like white folks constantly, like I said, for the past 11 years. And it's just not so. None of the people I've met. So, there's a whole lot of things that we think we know about folks, different groups, and we just don't. I think that probably people who have these ideas, especially the ones who are like adamant, they like staying firm in them, you probably don't really know many of the people from the group that you're talking about, at least not intimately, like on a real level. You may have had, white school teachers your whole life, but it doesn't mean that you know white people or that you know white teachers, generally speaking, like in general. Anyhow, so I say all that to say, when I moved up here to Pennsylvania, I really didn't know anything. I thought that, they were going to be like crazy racist, and you definitely have those. It's like you definitely got them in the black community, which I don't consider black people being racist. But I agree with Dr. Joy DeGroy with that whole idea. Look her up if you want to know what I'm talking about. She has a lecture, you can look it up on YouTube, called Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder. So anyway, when I came up here, I learned a lot. And what I learned is that though there are some things that I don't dig about them, again, that's across the board. People are people. There are lots of things, or there's several things in particular that I really dig. And again, I'm talking about Central Pennsylvania white folks, but females in general, women. So I try to come up with 5. I had 5 another time, but I can't think of the 5th one. Maybe it'll come to me before I finally finish this video. But for now, there are 4 things that I found that I really dig about these white Central Pennsylvania sisters. So first of all, I'm gonna look down here at my notes. So first of all, when I moved to Williamsport, and I actually haven't seen this in other places where I live, as diehard as those women up there, but they are crazy for the holidays and the seasons. Like they have okay, let me preface all this by saying, I'm not saying that other people and other races don't do these things. It's just what I saw when I moved up here, and this is my own personal experience. Okay, so I'm Muslim. I was born and I was raised Muslim, and I always say also was bred a revolutionary. So my family, we didn't celebrate any secular holidays. Kind of sort of Thanksgiving, but not really. We didn't actually celebrate it. And I'm not saying it in a way that folks be like, I don't celebrate it. We just get together and have big dinners every Thanksgiving because that's when everybody got off work. To me, that's a bunch of BS. That's not what I'm talking about. It was none of that. It wasn't no big dinner. It wasn't none of that. But we were super poor, and I'm talking 1970s and 1980 poor, not 2021 poor where you still buying $200 shoes or whatever. But you're just not funneling your money properly, in my opinion. Back then, we were straight poor. Oh my God, we were so hungry. And so we had, there was like, DYFS, I spoke about us being involved with DYFS in the past. DYFS and like welfare, whoever, they would give out, I think it was not welfare, it was DYFS. They would give out food packages to people during the holidays. And so, on Thanksgiving, they would give you a turkey and whatever else, some other kind of food. And my mama would take it and feed us. So we didn't actually celebrate Thanksgiving. Like, we never even talked about it. But I didn't come up like that. So there were no decorations and none of that kind of stuff. Now, of course, people around us did decorations. They would put up a Christmas tree and things like that. But that was it. Like, I don't even, I'm sure there had to be a wreath or two somewhere, but I don't even recall that. Now, around the time before I left New Jersey, I can remember people starting to put up those big old ugly snowman balloons and stuff like that on their little itty bitty porches. Yo, it legit would be no more space on porches. But they did stuff like that. They were not on the level of Williamsport. And it's not necessarily that they did anything like super extravagant. It's just that you could tell they cared and they were like really into this stuff. So they would have, I used to walk my daughter, didn't have a vehicle at the time. So I would walk one daughter to school, one area, and then my younger daughter, I would have to walk her all the way over like 45 minutes or so to the elementary school. And so when we would walk, I would just be like, wow, because they would have like these, wooden farmhouse looking things outside, like let it snow or, all kind of things. And I just thought that was so dope. And I used to always think like, one day when I buy a house, I'm going to do that sort of thing too. I don't, but one day. So yeah, I thought that was really cool about them. And then I remember when my very first job when I got up here was through this organization. I don't want to say their name, but it's this organization, and they were for people with like disabilities. And so they just had different things for them, like they would teach them life skills and stuff like that. And so it would be people with like I think primarily like mental retardation, or people who may have been wheelchair bound. I used to take care of this woman my very first job. I used to take care of this woman who, she was obese, so she was in a wheelchair. That's something else that's really big up there. When I was living there, there were a good amount of people that were wheelchair bound, but not because they had any like sort of physical disability, other than they were just obese. And so I used to take care of this woman. And so, they would like get you other gigs. This organization, they will hire you as I forget what they called it. They had a name for it. I can't recall what it is, but you were actually like a personal assistant, well, a personal home care assistant. That's not what it was called, but that's what the job was. And so they would get you people who came to them and was a part of their, a member of their organization. They would find help for them, and you would get paid. Boy, you get paid all the way up to a big old whopping $10 an hour. And this lady used to pay me $8.50. And she's like, every year you'll get a 25-cent raise. I was like, I can't do this. And I was coming off of being an entrepreneur for like crazy long. So I was like, I gotta get another business. But so yeah, there was another woman. I think she was like rigging the system. But she got, they got me to work for her. And because she's supposed to have like a bad back or something like that, all she had me do was clean. Clean. And they were messy, child. I used to be so mad. As soon as I cleaned the kitchen or something, they would come right behind me and mess up. I'd be like so pissed off. But I had to do it. I had to feed my family. So, but she has so many of those wooden farmhouse things, like all in her living room, and they were like pretty cool. And I was like, one day I'm gonna do this. When I get me a house. I thought it was like a million years away, but I got the house and I still don't do it. But anyway, so yeah, that's one thing that I really dig about them, how they really go all out, and they have all these kind of cool little doodads, you know what I mean? And I wish I had pictures to show. But anyway, so yeah, that was something. I'm taking mad long with this video. So that was something. Another thing is, again, Central Pennsylvania, it has a very strong German history. And so other places where I lived, like after I lived there, I lived in this town called Mifflinburg, and it's very residential slash rural, so I don't know what you'll call it. But so you have like houses and stuff everywhere, but you also have farms, and it was like off the main road. It was a highway, like a 4-lane highway, I think, something like that. And so they would have farms, like there was a farm very close to me. You could smell the cow poop. But it was very close to me, and that man must have had like 40, 50 cows or something. There was another one down the street that was an alpaca farm. It was really cool. So that whole juxtaposition of the residential with that. But they had a lot of Mennonite people there. So like Amish and Mennonites are different. I think the Amish are like stricter. Don't get me the line. It's been explained to me differences, but I can't recall them. But I do know that the Mennonites there, I don't know which order they were, but there must have been more than one order, because some of the people actually drove. I remember there's one black Mennonite lady up there that I would see at Walmart, and her hair was short, and it used to always be a hot mess. It was just like all way. I was like, I used to say to myself, like, sis, just calm me a little bit. But she had a caddy, honey. And but for the most part, they did not drive cars. They had horse and buggies. So horse and buggies were all over the place, especially late night Sundays when I would leave work. I'd leave work like 11:30 at night, and you'd be driving home. I was like maybe 20 minutes from my job, and it would just be all these buggies out there. And they don't do electricity, so they had these like square neon things on the back of their thing, so it just like glowed. I don't know what made it work, darkness, whatever, but that's how you know they'd be out there. But yeah, it was pretty cool. But so even the people who no longer practice Mennonite, I don't know how you say it, that sect of Christianity, even if they don't practice it anymore, they still acknowledge that's their heritage. And so I think that's pretty cool. Somebody who is all about ancestry and all that kind of thing. I think that's pretty dope. But also they still, there are things about their culture, like for New Year's they always serve sauerkraut and pork. Lord have mercy. Even at work, I'm like, y'all bugging right now. Like, people still eat pork. Because I'm from Jersey. Even non-Muslims down there really don't mess with the pork too tough. Or so it seems. At least they front like they don't. But, so there are things about them that they still acknowledge their German ancestry. They have, festivals and stuff like that throughout Central Pennsylvania, not just in that area. They have German festivals, and they acknowledge Oktoberfest. I actually need to be doing some more studying, because of course my grandma is German / Irish. She's half Irish, half German. But anyway, so yeah, them being keepers of their culture, I think is dope. Also, I really dig about up there in particular, up in that area, that was like more north central, I think, Pennsylvania. They also practice very much what I consider to be womanly arts. So I know dividing genders ain't really cool these days, but nonetheless, throughout time for millennia, not just the past 25 years or whatever, but throughout time, there has always been, in my opinion, in organizations of any kind, certainly in communities, there needs to be chores or I can never think. I lose my words. I guess I'll just say chores for now, since I can't think of the other word I want to. But we all have our positions within an organization or the community, things that we do or don't do, and that's what makes it run smoothly for the most part. So those things for women being, agriculturalists or, gardeners, I hear people talk about like, yeah, my people are hunter gatherers or whatever. Well, the hunters were most commonly the men, and then the gatherers were the women. We were the ones who would go out and get the herbs, figure out what they do, medicate the people, heal the people, all that kind of thing. So that's something, even down here in this area, which is still Central PA, they do that. Not as much as up there, I noticed, because I ask somebody every now and again about something, like I grew watermelons this summer, and I wanted to know, like, is this sucker ready to pick or not? They don't know nothing. These chicks down here, they're modern. But up there, definitely, they are bakers. There's a thing that's really popular among, I guess, again, it's German tradition. There's a pie called the Shoofly pie. So like shoe, SHOO, Shoofly pie. I remember when I worked at a facility up there, and we were just kicking in. It's like the first time I heard of a Shoofly pie. And I was thinking, like, a shoe, like you wear them, like, that's weird, what's that? But they were talking about Shoofly pie, and I was like, no, I never heard of that. And they're like, oh, you're going to have to get with it. If you're going to be a Pennsylvania woman, you're going to have to know how to make some Shoofly pie. Still ain't learned, I'm going to. So, they're very much into the baking arts. They can cook, child. They hunt. And when I say hunt, up there in that area, those women hunt. I remember I was with a couple of women up there again at work, because I don't have a life outside of work. But I was at work, and the two women, they were laughing because one of the women, her little daughter, she's like 10 or something like that. She was so scared. I think she peed herself because she was coming home, because child, they love to live in the woods. She was coming home, and she saw a bear, and she was so afraid that she froze, and she peed herself. Good Lord, they were laughing at that, and I was like, that'd have been me too. Boy, they got a kick out of that. And I remember there was this one little petite woman I worked with. She retired while we worked together, so she was in her 60s. Little old thing, I swear for God, she must have been about 5'2", and she used to hunt bear. She sure did. She, her husband, her son, they would go out there hunt. And she was telling me how, because I was impressed. Like, damn, a bear? Even though I don't think that's cool. I mean, they eat the bear. But, I believe she told me they eat the bear. Y'all tell me if people eat bear. I think she said they ate the bear. But she, that's what they do. I'm not anti-hunting, of course. Being Afro-Native, being Muslim, we Muslims, we sacrifice annually, and it's to feed the people, though. It's not just like killing for the sake of killing. We won't do that type of thing. I ain't with that. But nonetheless, I was impressed. Like, how your little ass kill a bear? She's like, yeah, you just shoot it and you drag it. I'm like, so they do stuff like that, which again I think is cool. They're all about them guns. Listen, they're about those guns. They know how to take care of themselves. Some of the women down here too, but I think like probably the older women, like the younger women, like my age, and like maybe the 40, like 30s to 40s or younger or whatever, they don't seem to be about that. I think women generally today are just not about a lot of stuff that we used to be about. But so yeah, they do that hunting and everything. Oh, they love they sew their quilters even down here in this area. Again, that must be the older women. I can't think of the younger women. The younger women seem like they don't do a damn thing but make babies and get drunk, get tattooed. But hey, this is third America now. But they do all that stuff. They sew, they quilt, they crochet, which I dig because I sew when I crochet. I cook. I used to bake. I used to cook with my food. But so I dig all those kind of things because again, I think they're like very womanly arts. What else? Oh, one of the other things that I really dig about them. First of all, up here, I don't know about back home so much because I wasn't into the field of medicine when I lived back in New Jersey. So I didn't really pay attention to certain things like long-term care. So like we had senior citizen homes down there, but they weren't long-term care. Like there was no healing going on. They were just homes, like buildings that were specified. I guess they were like subsidized housing for elderly people. My aunt actually lives in one. She's not elderly, but she does live in one. And my grandmother used to live in one. So they're just buildings, and if they need help, then they have home health days come in and they help them. So I don't know anything about actual long-term care nursing homes down there. I'm sitting here trying to like mentally going throughout the area. I still don't know where a daggone nursing home is there. I need to look that up and see what's up with that. But so yeah, I don't know anything about that then. But so I don't know what if the if long-term care facilities that they have back home, if they are affiliated with any religious entity. But up here, that's all they are. So one area I used to live and work in was all about Lutherans. Another place was, I forget what church they were with. Even in different facilities, but it just seems like they're all with the same church or something. I don't know. So you have the Lutherans, you have the Brethren of Christ, you have Jewish people. They have a nursing home. So they're all affiliated with a nursing home. But in saying that, they are missionary people. So of course, it being long-term care, I work primarily with elderly people. So in there, anywhere from the 70s to the late 90s, and over 100 too. And one man that I work with, he just turned 140 the other day, I think. And there's several, you'd be surprised. There are a bunch of them that are over 100 years old. This medication keeping you living, boy. You might not be healthy, but you be alive. Yes. But yeah, they were missionaries. So I know people who, like, they used to always go to Africa, of course. Give the savages the white Jesus. And so they would go over there and they would like live, and they would teach reading and writing and all that kind of thing to the people. They would have their children there, raise their children, come back home, that type of thing. But they were very, very much into missionary work, and they still are. I have so many people who, again, are like in their 90s, and they're still doing charitable work. They're still like making quilts for babies. They're still making, mats for the homeless. They're just doing so very many things, and I really, really dig that about them. That because I love giving charity. Giving charity makes me feel so darn good inside, and I just love it. It's a feeling that I really don't get from anything else. Giving to other people, I do it a lot for people I know anyway, but and that makes me feel good also. But like soulfully, spiritually, giving to other people. Like, I know I've spoken on this channel before about one of my favorite charities to give to is the Himalayan Cataract Project, because for a mere $25, honey, which I blow that on junk like that regularly, $25 will give someone back their sight. And we're talking about people who have been blind for decades. And because the problem is their lens. So they remove the bad lens, their natural lens, and they put in an artificial lens. And, they'll do, say today is, what's the day? Tuesday. They do the operation today, bandage them up, because I guess no light can get in there and whatever. By tomorrow, the same time, they have their sight back. And that is amazing to me, because it's not simply like you think. It's like, oh yay, now they can walk without falling. They can watch television, and they don't have TVs probably, but they can do, we think of every mundane things, but that, them getting their eyesight back, just put all these other possibilities into effect. Now they can go to work and they can help provide for their family. They can, educate. They can teach their own children if they have children. If they are children, because they also deal with blindness of children too, pediatric blindness. Now they can learn. They have a whole different future set up for them, just because I decided not to go to Whole Foods today and get some junk food. I went on and put that money and gave it to the Cataract Foundation and helped them get their sight back. That to me is amazing, yo. That is just like so crazy. And not to mention the fact, of course, being a religious person, or whatever, you kind of hope that's gonna be like nice to the creator too. Like, see, I'm not all bad. But so yeah, I love giving charity. And so to know these women and hear their stories and stuff and see what they're doing, they inspire me so much. That's what actually got me to start crocheting again for sick babies, because one woman, she's always doing something, like I said, and she's actually putting together little quilts to give to babies. I don't know if they're orphans or if they're going to Africa or where they're going to, but we talk. We talk, and I think she digs the fact that I am into charity also. And so I said to her, like, yeah, I used to sew for the sick babies, blah blah blah, I really want to get into it again, or I used to do this and do that, but I just don't have the time. She's like, well, just do something small. And sometimes it's the simplest, most obvious things that just don't dawn on you, or don't dawn on me. And it was sort of a eureka moment. I'm like, you is right. So I started crocheting, even though I haven't done it for a few weeks now, because the trigger finger stuff and messing with my hand. But yeah, they're very inspiring. And again, it's not to say that other people don't do it. They do. I have my friend, my surrogate mother. She goes to the Gambia, and she teaches them, and she sends boxes and boxes and boxes of school books and things like that. Help build the masjid and all this kind of stuff over there. And alhamdulillah, I've been able to do some things through her also. But I'm talking about white folk up here, white women, my sisters. And so, that's something else that I really dig about them up here. And it doesn't mean that, there are not some things that irritate me sometimes. There are. But this is a positive video. So, yeah. It's really cool. I like being inspired. I like having people around me who I feel will make me better. I got down pat getting it wrong. I need somebody to show me and help me and inspire me to be a better person, not a worse person. I need no help with that. But anyway, that's about it. I've been running my mouth forever. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this right now and hope that y'all have a good day.